Hi, so what if I told you that you can actually eat your white bread or refined bread without ever having to worry about spiking glucose or insulin? There is a simple way to do that, and I'm going to show you in this video. You know, white bread or refined bread are generally unhealthy, and most of the population consume this unhealthy bread, which spike up glucose and insulin, leading to certain conditions such as the insulin resistance, prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, obesity, heart diseases, kidney issues, autoimmune diseases, fatty liver, stroke, dementia, and the list goes on and on and on. And a spike in glucose and insulin also leads to the development of certain cancers, and you are as healthy as your gut microbiome, and this high spike do not order well for your gut microbiome. And the majority of the breads we consume are generally made from flour, yeast, salt, sugar, and water. So we can see how the consumption of refined bread or white bread plays a negative effect or impact on our health. But the good news is that if you are eating this unhealthy bread, I'm going to share with you how to prevent a spike in glucose and insulin when you consume these unhealthy breads or this white or refined bread. There was a research done on the impact of freezing and toasting white bread and the glycemic response after that. And the study was categorized into 4 different stages. Number 1 is eating the fresh bread alone. Number 2, or the second stage, was that you toast the fresh bread and then you eat it. And the third category was freezing the fresh bread and then eating it. And the fourth category was that you freeze the fresh bread, and after freezing it, you toast it and then you eat it. And then the glycemic response or the glycemic index is recorded with each stage. So this is what they found after the 4 stages. Number 1, the first category, obviously, eating the fresh bread had the highest glycemic index, meaning that the sugars in the bread were quickly absorbed into the cells and spike up glucose and insulin very high. Now, in the second stage, which was just toasting the bread, it showed a lesser glycemic index than the first stage. And the third option, which was eating the frozen bread, and the result was very remarkable. There was a 31% reduction of the glycemic index from the first category. And the last stage was that after the bread was frozen, it was toasted, and that even lowered the glycemic index the more. This study was done on refined breads. So the question would be, is it going to have the same effect on other types of bread? The answer is very yes, if only it contains starch. It works with the same concept. So I have a frozen whole wheat bread here with me, and I take the whole grain bread, okay, and I just decrease the glycemic index by 31% just by freezing this whole wheat bread. And this is going to help me get the sugar into my cells slowly, and that won't spike glucose or insulin. So yeah, I have 2 advantages. Number 1 is that I eat a whole grain bread, which means that less starch, less sugar, and more fiber, which is going to help my gut microbiome. And then freezing it on top of that also reduces the glycemic index by 31%. And I'm going to toast it after this, and that will further increase the glycemic index. So you can see that I have a better advantage over the person who takes the white or refined bread. It's going to help my satiety because it won't spike insulin and also spike glucose as well. And aside the breads, if you have any flour or starch-based food in your home, I highly advise that you freeze it and then you defreeze it and then toast it before you eat. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share with your families and loved ones. And if you haven't watched my video on the only carbs that do not spike glucose and insulin, I put the video right up here. Check it out. Hey, always remember that God wants you healthy. Your health, your life.